Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about having the Sagittarius Sun and Aries Moon in a natal chart. Now, I'm going to elaborate and expound on that. What I'm talking about is having uh, that Sun-Moon combination in the natal chart, a Sagittarius Sun and Aries Moon in your natal chart. Now, first off, well, the basic character, which is the Sun, in this case, the Sun, being in Sagittarius can be very expansive, optimistic, exuberant, upbeat, jovial, blunt, and even self-righteous. Now, on the unconscious level, which is the moon, the Sun represents the conscious side of the person, the moon, the unconscious side. And on an unconscious level, the person with the moon in Aries, the person may be assertive, aggressive, combative, outspoken, courageous. They may have acrimonious feelings and more acerbic, angry emotions. Typical person because Aries is the sign associated with anger, and the moon, of course, is associated with one's emotions. This is obviously a very fiery combination, and this person may exhibit very strong leadership prowess and ability, having the sun and the moon both in fire signs. Now, this person may bring that Sagittarius optimism into something Aries related, which can include firefighting, the military, arson investigation, law enforcement, combat sports as some examples. And the thing about this is now the Sagittarius Sun. I mean, what we want, the basic wants in astrology, is connected with the Sun. The Sun rules the basic wants, and the Sagittarius Sun wants to explore, expand horizons, and be that perpetual learner. And the moon is about our emotional needs. And Aries moon needs to lead, confront, combat, handle emergencies. And the sun in astrology reflects our true self. And having the sun in Sagittarius, the true self may be enthusiastic, jocular, philosophical, and the inner self, which is the moon, in this case the moon being in Aries, can be abrupt, aggressive, impulsive, impetuous, as some examples. The sun in astrology also is connected with our drive and motivation. So, with the Sagittarius sun, this person may be driven and motivated to expand one's horizons. And with an Aries moon, it might be done more, in a hurried manner, feeling a little more impatient. Um, this could also be, more harmonious, this sun-moon combination, if it is in a trine aspect. Signs are trine by sign, but trine aspect in astrology is 120 degrees. It's auspicious, favorable, and harmonious. Um, Yeah, and I use a 10-degree orb if at least one personal planet is involved. In this case, you have two personal planets involved with the Sun and the Moon. An example would be if the Sagittarius Sun is at 3 degrees and the Aries Moon is at 6 degrees, that would form a trine aspect. And, you have the Sagittarius Sun, you know, basic fundamental character, being that incorrigible optimist, and the Aries moon not readily discouraged, and it would blend very well together, more so if it was in a trine aspect as opposed to it not being in that aspect. Now, the sun in astrology reflects our actions, and the moon is about our reactions and responses. Now, the actions, being the sun and the sun in Sagittarius, can be done with exuberance, enthusiasm, may be done, to expand horizons, to express benevolence. And then you have, the moon again being connected with the reactions and responses. And the moon being in Aries, can be somewhat abrupt, impulsive, spontaneous type of reactions, and they could be done with some certain enthusiasm as well. And it's it's a very good combination for leadership, you know, prowess and ability with the sun and the moon, both being in fire signs, but the combination, can be a little disputatious because fire signs do tend to be, argumentative and disputatious. Now, the sun in astrology represents the biological father. So having the sun in Sagittarius, the biological father may actually be a Sagittarius sun, moon, or ascendant, or embody those characteristics. Now, with an Aries moon, the moon in astrology reflects the mother. So with an Aries moon, the person's mother may actually be an Aries sun, moon, or ascendant, or embody those traits. It's also about the perception of these people. Having a Sagittarius sun, one may perceive the biological father as somebody that's exuberant, enthusiastic, expansive, optimistic, very positive, motivating, but and really somebody that's that perpetual learner, but at the same time may perceive the biological father as somebody that's overly, reckless, foolhardy, flighty, unreliable, um, person that might, just be, over, not always, see the details, um, in things, overly blunt and tactless, as some examples. Now, the Aries moon, having an Aries moon, the person may perceive the mother as somebody that's, courageous, aggressive, assertive, pioneering, someone that has a lot of fortitude, but at the same time may perceive the mother as somebody that's overly, abrupt or impatient, impulsive, impetuous, person that might be overly, combative or easily provoked, as some examples. Now, going back to the trine aspect, it would be, I would say there'd be a greater propensity for the biological father and mother to be together if the sun and the moon, is in a trine aspect. Um, a lot of that, though, can be predicated and dependent on, the synastry between the biological father and mother in their own individual charts and their own synastry they have in their own charts, and that would, that's greater, I would say, in terms of the compatibility between them, and whether, the chances would be greater or less in terms of them staying together or not. Now, another thing too, going back to what I was stating before about, the combination in general, can be one where one exhibits and exudes very strong leadership prowess and ability, but at the same time, you still got to look at contraindicators and modifying influences in one's natal chart. If somebody has, Sagittarius Sun Aries Moon combination, but has like a, Taurus or Virgo ascendant as an example, there may be a little greater chance that the person may be feel comfortable more, say, in a subordinate position, or at least be willing to adapt to a subordinate position or role, more so than the typical Sagittarius Sun Aries Moon combination. Doesn't mean they wouldn't have any leadership prowess, and they still may have that, but there still may be more adaptability in terms of being willing, to be, under, someone's auspices more and under their, authority. But and also too, as I stated before too, this could be, with the sun and the moon both being in fire signs, this can be, some to some degree an argumentative and disputatious combination. But again, contraindicators in the chart, can be at play. And if you have, say, more, if you have an ascendant like, Pisces as an example, Pisces can be very malleable and, somewhat passive, easygoing. At least in Pisces ascendant outwardly, would they be projecting, or, or Gemini rising can be very pliable and adaptable, and they're not one, outwardly they're not nearly as argumentative as a Sagittarius Sun or Aries Moon, so you'd have to, factor the whole chart into consideration, or even having, say, Venus conjunct the ascendant or sun as another example. The person may be a little bit more peaceful in triangle than the typical Sagittarius Sun Aries Moon combination. But anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.